Karoline Leavitt just can't help herself. And by that, I really mean she can't help but embarrass herself. She really takes after her boss in that regard, that no matter where she goes or what she does, she's basically always bound to screw up. And screw up she did in an appearance tonight on the Fox propaganda outlet when she was confronted by a very panicked Sean Hannity over Donald Trump's trade deals, or really his lack of trade deals, and it all fell apart from there. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Karoline Leavitt's mess on Fox, I want to start with a clip from Jasmine Crockett, because she explained exactly what Leavitt was doing on Fox.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a simple but clear message. First of all, I just got to clear up a few things. Instead of the president cosplaying as the next pope, he may want to try to cosplay as an actual president of these United States. That means that he may have to do a little bit of research and decide that he wants to understand that he swore an oath. And this oath was to protect and defend the Constitution. That is the oath that he was supposedly taking on January 20th, as well as we may want the president to look into what the Declaration of Independence was about. We may want him to understand that there was a foundational document as it relates to self-determination of those who had recently gained their independence from Great Britain. I would hope that he would maybe spend a few of these days in this first 100 days, and it is sad to say that it's his second term, that he doesn't understand that the Declaration of Independence is about this idea that we are entitled to the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that's...
We know that Donald Trump doesn't care about the duties of the presidency. We know that Donald Trump doesn't have any respect for our rule of law or the checks and balances. Donald Trump is only ever doing anything in advancement of Donald Trump. And that is why, as of lately, he has been freaking out so much, because there's nothing he can do to move forward his agenda. And even when he does, it completely backfires because it's so unpopular. And that is why, as Jasmine Crockett called out, he's just trying to show and throw all these shiny objects all over the place, trying to distract us, much like Karoline Leavitt was doing with her talk of Alcatraz right here.
Great to see you, Sean. Thank you so much. And this is a phenomenal idea by President Trump that will be executed upon. In fact, I can confirm for you that the White House has already administered calls with the Bureau of Prisons, our counterparts at the Department of Justice, and our counterparts at the Department of Interior, because Alcatraz is now run by the National Park Service, and we know our great Secretary of Interior, Doug Burgum, is in charge of that. So the Bureau of Prisons has already confirmed that they are assessing next steps to reopen this notorious prison. And the reason for it is because President Trump is leaving no stone unturned to restore law and order to our country and to make it very clear to criminals, repeat offenders, not just illegal immigrant criminals, but also American citizens who have refused to comply with our nation's laws. If you have been repeatedly breaking the law, if you are in and out of prison, that is ending under this administration. President Trump's team is going to enforce our laws and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. So we are absolutely looking into this, assessing next steps, and it's a part of the president's big picture law and order agenda, which is obviously working, especially when you look at the illegal border crossings at our southern border. The border is secure, mass deportations are underway, and law and order is back in America thanks to President Trump.
This is just another distraction in a very, very long line of distractions. And it's interesting that it's focused around law and order, like the guy with 34 felonies who is currently defying the Supreme Court and is always finding ways to break the law is bringing back law and order. But yeah, it's just a distraction because Donald Trump knows everything he does is going to fail, backfire, or make him more unpopular. So he just has to shift where we're looking, because he doesn't want us looking at the biggest problem of his presidency right now, which is what he has staked his really entire time in office on, his favorite word of tariffs. Yeah, they're not working. There are no trade deals. And when Karoline Leavitt was asked about that by Sean Hannity, who desperately wants a good answer, she could not only barely speak, she couldn't really communicate what was happening.
Update us on that.
The trade deals are continuing to move along in a positive and productive direction. The Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Commerce, the President himself continue to be engaged on this every single day, keeping in mind the American worker and reshoring jobs here at home. You had a new announcement from the President yesterday, tariffs on the film industry. We're going to make Hollywood great again, and it's just one of the many great proposals the President has had to make our country boom again and to bring jobs back here at home.
All right. So what's going on? Are we getting deals? Are deals happening? Did the deals already happen? You hear them talk a lot about sub deals or the idea of a deal or the concept of a deal. That's all we're hearing right now. While world leaders are actually joining together, sometimes with China, to make a pact saying they won't sign any trade deal with the United States until Donald Trump signs one with China. They have all the leverage. I don't know if that's the art of the deal that Donald Trump has been talking about this whole time, the book he didn't write, but it surely doesn't look great for our economy that's about to enter a recession, that's about to see empty shelves across the country. So yeah, Donald Trump is trying to distract, and he is breaking the law in doing so. And Jasmine Crockett, who we heard from at the beginning of this video, is calling all that out right here.
The fact that you just got done engaging in a conversation where we have a president of the United States who has no idea about the oath that he just took on January 20th tells me everything that I need to know. He didn't even have good sense enough in that same interview to say something as simple as, yes, I will follow the Constitution. You know, the thing that actually derived from the oath that he was supposed to take. And he supposedly took an oath, which there's a lot of people that point out that he never put his hand on the Bible, even though he acts as if he could somehow be the Pope. But nevertheless, that oath specifically says that you will defend the Constitution. So the idea that you are now taking the Constitution and, as I said at the DNC, putting it through a paper shredder is a problem. And I think that this should not be partisan. This should be right versus wrong. A lot of the things that this administration is doing, they don't have anything to do with partisanship. This is right versus wrong. And right now, they are consistently wrong.
So President Trump referenced the notion you're the future of the Democratic Party. You are pitching fellow Democrats on a run for the top position on the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah.
The current top Democrat is stepping down because of illness, according to Politico, says that you're seeking that position. Do you think you are the future of the Democratic Party? And if not, who else is?
I don't know that I'm the future of the Democratic Party, but I do know that in this moment, we need people that are unafraid and willing to go after this administration for the good of the entirety of the country. And I think that that is an opportunity that I would have sitting as the ranker on oversight. We will be able to conduct investigations. And as they are not wanting the American people to know about things such as what's going on with FAA, as you were just talking about Newark, or what's going on as it relates to our food, or what's going on as it relates to these firings and how that is impacting, say, our veterans that are trying to go and seek the treatment that they need. They don't want to be transparent and open with the American people. And I want to do that. I want to make sure that we are shining a light on all the darkness that they are bringing to our country right now.
So President Trump says his administration's latest self-deportation policy will allow some migrants a potential path back to the U.S. DHS also says it will pay an additional $1,000 to people who verify that they have left the U.S., people in this country illegally, who have left the U.S. and returned to their home country. I want you to listen to what White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said about this a few days ago.
A single illegal alien family over the course of his lifetime may cost the U.S. taxpayers over $1 million. So when you give an illegal immigrant a check for, say, $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it may be, $3,000 to leave the country, you're saving taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. It also saves money relative to us having to go out and find that illegal alien and physically arrest them and deport them.
You represent a border state. Obviously, there are a lot of undocumented migrants in Texas. What do you make of this? Would you advise any undocumented individual who comes to you that maybe they should take the money and go back to their home country? What's your take on it all?
I wouldn't trust this administration for anything. First of all, they are terrible about paying their bills, number one. Number two, most of those people that have come over, regardless of what this administration said, they came over because they were fleeing things such as the fact that they don't have the opportunity to work and earn a living, or they're fleeing political violence. And so what is $1,000 if you're going back to a place where you may lose your life? They risk their lives, many of them coming over here in the first place. That's number one. Number two, I want to see some numbers. Where in the heck did you just pull this number out of your back pocket saying that they're costing us approximately $100 million? I'm sorry, not $100 million, $1 million for each undocumented person. The only numbers that we have show that we receive approximately $100 billion in tax revenue from undocumented people, so much so that they decided that they want to go to the IRS and get the IRS to help them as they go and seek these people. You know why? Because they've been working and they've been doing the jobs that now they want to roll back child labor protections and make sure that poor children are the ones that are doing those jobs, because now we're going to have those vacancies, if we're going to have jobs left at all, as we continue to endure the grind of this failed experiment around this tariff war.
I want to ask you, the U.S. Department of Education says it's going to restart collecting federal student loans in default starting today. This impacts about 5 million Americans. You've been outspoken against this. And I know, look, COVID, inflation, and now tariffs and uncertainty on the stock market. Yeah. It's a tough time for a lot of people out there. But what do you say to critics who say, look, I paid off my student loans, why can't these people pay off theirs?
Listen, everyone kind of encounters a different set of circumstances. I remember when I came out of undergrad and it was a decision about whether or not to go to law school or to go to grad school at all. And one of the reasons that actually propelled me into saying, yes, I will absolutely go, is because the economy was so bad that I wouldn't be able to get a job and actually start paying those loans back. So I decided to, go get more education and hopefully come out in 3 years to a better market and have enough education to be able to actually pay these bills. Listen, we all have different sets of circumstances, whether it's life that's happening, whether you're taking care of your parents, or whether you're taking care of children. But the reality is that we consistently offer breaks to those that are paying out multi-billion-dollar bonuses, whether it's in the banking industry, whether it's in the auto industry. We continue to offer those kind of bailouts. But when it comes to the everyday working person, the person that is going to feel these failed tariffs policies the most, as they are doing a historic amount of firings in our federal government, which means that it's not just going to impact those that are being fired. It's going to impact those restaurants in those areas where those workers would normally go.
We have to just keep hammering this message every single day. Everything that Donald Trump is doing is a distraction from the fact that he is either failing to accomplish his agenda or he is breaking the law to do so. And when he's breaking the law to accomplish his agenda, it's incredibly unpopular, not only politically, but morally. So we have to call it out. Jasmine Crockett is doing that. We're going to be doing that on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.